Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 19 of What If Naruto Had the Rarest Bloodline. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends and social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new series over on Anime King 3 of What If Naruto Had the Ultimate Nature Bloodline, and enjoyed that guys. And I also posted a brand new episode over Anime King of What If Naruto failed his Jonin test and was given intense training, so go ahead and enjoy that as well. And yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode, start the intro. So, the last time we left off, as the girls were currently in the hot spring, having a nice soak, Harrison had forbade all of Minato friends from going to see him, as it was Jiraiya's idea to toughen up Minato to get him ready for the role of being Hokage, because Harrison was going to pick him as his successor, as he wanted him as strong as possible so he can ready to face the hard truth, the fact out there for the world. It was then that Jiraiya saw Minato behind the hot spring peeping on the ladies. Minato looked all messed up as he was speaking, his eyes were dead. He asked Jiraiya a lot of questions. Jiraiya finally broke and told him that yes, Sakumo was his father. Sakumo hated himself and he hated what he did to his wife because she died of a broken heart because of what he did. And his wife never liked to see Minato at all. And Naruto was not his father. So they blamed him for something that was out of his control. That was all Minato needed to hear as he shoved a Rasengan right in Jiraiya's stomach. As powerful as you are, getting attacked by someone you never expected, it would definitely hurt you. Minato did not stop as he grinded the Rasengan through Jiraiya, as Jiraiya could only watch his student with his lifeless eyes until light left him as he died. Minato appeared as he found Tasumi. He grabbed her hand and he told her to go home now, after giving her a scroll. She cowered under his gaze as she fled. Her instinct told her to flee as she did. When she arrived, as she opened the scroll, she saw Minato left her a lot of things. There was a chest full of money, different luxurious clothes, gold coins and everything, as she was strapped down to the table. A seal and ray that strapped her there tight as she was unable to move. As Minato apologized, but he had to do it. As Minato walked up on the stage, he pulled the blade and severed Harrison. Despite having a prolonged life expectancy by the Uzumaki, Harrison still could not survive that wound. As Minato went on an onslaught, bodies dropped, people suffered, people died. He slaughtered everyone in his path. As Naruto and the BLAK members on the roof, as Naruto was watching the onslaught with a joyful look on his face, Konoha was reaping what they sow. As Minato slaughtered the members of the council, he battered his so-called friends. Anyone that stood in his way, he defeated. He mercilessly ripped them down to pieces. Mikoto was stopped by him as he held on to her, as he was in misery of her pain. He was about to kill her when he stopped, as he could sense it. She was pregnant. She let Fukaku impregnate her. The man seemed to be even more broken as she apologized over and over. She was sorry for everything that she did, as she didn't really have a choice. Her father had forced her into it, as her father had somehow saw Fukaku as the one to lead the clan, because he didn't want any woman to lead the clan, as Fukaku has gotten his way. And it was either that or banishment. But she was the one that wanted to start things with Minato back then. She was the one that was always leading him on, and yet she had to go and broke his heart. She felt terrible. She felt disgusted with herself. It doesn't matter if he killed her. But when she found out that she was pregnant, that she didn't even know, That is why she was feeling sluggish lately. He simply released her as he told her to go. With that, he simply made his way off. Minato found himself at the edge of the village as he just kept on running. Running and running and running until he was between the border of the grass and Konoha. He lay there as he sensed someone coming to him. He didn't care anymore, go ahead and kill him. But the person asked him why would they do that. He looked up towards the eyes. The orange eyes of a female that stood above him. Wings extending from her back. As it was none other than Conan. As she extended a hand to him. As she had a place for him to go. If he didn't have anywhere else. So yeah guys, those basically that's what left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So what do you say begin this new episode? It has been 7 months since the attack on Konoha. As we start off at Clover Mountain village, hidden in the mountains, an axe fell down and split a log of wood in half. Minato pulled the axe back up before placing another wooden log as he sliced it in half and he pushed it over to the large pile that he has been making since sunrise. At the moment it was 7 in the morning as he stabbed the axe into the panel that he has been cutting the wood on, threw the last piece of remaining wood on the messy pile. The child that he was paying arrangements with that harvest the piece of wood would sell them at the bottom of the mountain at the market. The child would arrive very soon. Minato could easily do it himself, but the girl came from a poor family, and what little conscience he had forced his hand to help. She also helped clean his humble cottage as well, so it wasn't really an inconvenience helping her. 200 Ryu a day couldn't take her family far, but she really appreciated it nonetheless. He groaned as he stretched, sighing as his back finally cracked. He was in a short sleeve black shirt, thick gloves over his palms. Months of cutting wood and getting splinters, he decided that he should pick up some gloves. He now had a full dark yellow beard that was rather shaggy. Shiver as a cold breeze blew up the mountain. Winter was coming and chop wood was very high demand in the market. He turned around as he heard a yawn at his doorway. He sighed. "Tasumi, I thought I told you to take it easy," he said, as he went to her and placed a soft kiss on her forehead. She smiled, but she didn't scoff. "I'm pregnant, not disabled," she said. True to what she said, her belly was rather large. She was 6.5 months pregnant. The father, Minato, guided her towards a chair in front of the cottage and eased her down. "Seiko will be here to help with the cleaning and the laundry. Just take it easy, Tasumi," he said. She huffed and sat back. "Oh, don't mind me," she said. "I'll just be here getting fat. Don't forget, Inazaka women don't make good housewives. You hear? Once I get this breath out of me, it's straight back to kicking ass." I know," he says. He refused to be treated like a damsel in distress. "What about your knitting set?" "I'm not good at that," she said. "We'll go for a walk later, okay?" "Okay," she said. Tatsumi had arrived in his cottage. She'd arrived 5 months ago, huffing and puffing. He remembered exactly what she said. "Don't think you can just get me pregnant, go batshit crazy, and run away from me." He had grabbed him by his collar roughly. "I will not be a single mother. Now take responsibility, jackass." It was the angriest she has ever been at him. And the first few months of living with her was constant torture. She keep on yelling for something, one craving or another, complaining that he didn't love her enough. She snapped at him if her tea did not taste how she imagined, whatever that meant. And she just made it harder for Minato to provide for their small family. At least she had to warm back up to him. But she still hated him for getting her pregnant. In his defense, he wanted to use protection, but she insisted that she was on a pill. She thought that it wouldn't happen, seeing that her previous experience didn't get her pregnant. But this time was different. Tatsumi had given half of the money and the jewelry to her clan to help them rebuild the clan compound. And she had given the other half to the fourth Hokage of the village now, so that she would not be branded as a missing ninja. Speaking of missing ninja, Minato Namikaze, of the moment as he left Konoha, he was branded an S-rank missing ninja of Konoha, to be approached with caution. Only those that has S-rank skills and above could approach him. So far, no one was able to track him but Tatsumi. And the only reason why she found him was because he left that Harishin kunai with her, which she had altered, so it would be a guiding beacon to find him. It was his trust in her to not betray him, to leave the tracking beacon with her. Before she left the village, Konoha ninjas had interrogated her on her involvement. She denied everything of ever known about Minato's plan, even allowing them to receive memory from her, to show that she was tied up for the full 30 minutes. Thankfully though, they did not look further back when Minato had ordered her as her alpha to go back to the apartment. Her alpha. She wasn't sure exactly when that happened. There was a small part of her that wanted to rat him out, because she was a Konoha ninja, but yet she couldn't do it no matter what. Minato sat down in a chair next to her. As he laced his fingers with hers, he smiled at her, the most he can muster with his girlfriend since the massacre. Tatsumi leaned forward as she pecked him on the lips as he kissed back. As Minato sensed it, Konan's feet gently touched down as her paper wings folded back into her back, or wherever she kept those many sheets of paper. She briefly looked towards the logs before she looked towards where Tatsumi and Minato were sitting down. She was in her Akatsuki clothing, and in her hand was a small sheet of paper. "Good morning, Minato," she said. "Morning," he said. He patted Tatsumi's hand as he stood to his feet and collected the piece of paper. "Another mission?" "Yes, this one should be simple for you." Minato read the contents of the paper. "Your payment is already sealed inside. All you have to do is provide support for one of our members during this mission into the night forest." "That's dangerous, Konan," he said. "I wouldn't have given it to you unless I knew you could have succeeded." Kisame, Hashigaki, person who Minato was supposed to support on this mission. He told us there is no wall or sealed barrier at the back of the night forest, only a barricade fence to keep the animals from escaping. The Fuin Jutsu might be advanced over the village, but it does not cover the back of the forest, hence why the fence, so the animals stay in one place. "It's more than that," said Minato. "Darkness wouldn't just leave that place unprotected. The Defense Corps, the Black Operatives, there's a reason why no one has ever infiltrated Dark Country. I'm sure many people have thought of entering through the night forest. Sami has assured us that he knew a way. This is one of those days when security is the lowest. If we come across Naruto during this mission, I will not fight him," said Minato. "I'm aware," she said. Several months ago, Konan had come on behalf of the Akatsuki, not to recruit Minato, but to, have him perform partial missions for them as a contractor. He knew that he didn't want to be confined to the secrets of the organization, because the man just got his freedom. To exchange that freedom for an organization he just discovered, she knew that he wouldn't accept that. She informed him that the Akatsuki want him to work for them, and only them, whether on combat missions or just gathering information. This to keep their identity a secret for now, and so that Minato was not used against them. She was assured of his talents when she told him, because of his partial membership, he would be exposed to more truths of this world. She had given him the cloak, but no ring. No customary blood contract meant that the Akatsuki resources and benefits were not open to Minato. Signing with his blood meant that he lived and died with the Akatsuki, and Minato did not agree to that. Him and Tatsumi were a package deal, so the Inuzaka fine note was a must, but ignorable. Up until that point, Minato's jobs had merely been to gather information. When it came to researching and getting the truth, Minato was the best in the Akatsuki. He was Zetsu's replacement, and the payment for each mission made him live comfortably. But being a logger and making the cash from selling the woods made him feel more accomplished. He turned towards his pregnant girlfriend. "I'll tell Seiko to stay back a bit after she sells the logs." "Fine by me," said Tatsumi. Konan's body burst away in paper and vanished, as a girl with black hair ran straight up to the house. She was in clean, though old, hand-me-down blue shorts, a pink top and sandals. She was ready to work. "Mr. Minato, Mrs. Tum," as she waved and ran towards a log of wood, waiting for her. "Morning." As she reached down, "Where are your gloves, Seiko?" asked Minato. "Ah," she said. She put the wood back down. She reached into her back pocket and pulled out some brown, used gloves as she put them on. "Here they are, sir," she said. "Alright," he said. "Get to work then." He saluted. "Yes, sir," as she started to pick up a piece of wood, hard that she hired that morning, before climbing all the way up. It was a 10-minute climb to where Minato lived. Would arrive in a few minutes. Seiko was streetwise and she was sharp. Minato could leave money with her to take care of his home and Tatsumi for a short while, because she was an honest child. She was smart of no traitors trying to rip her off, while she and Tatsumi was out for grocery shopping. Hurting she might be, but she was gonna help her family any way she could. That is why she pleaded with Minato all those months ago, when he started to live on the mountain and cutting wood, to employ her as a servant. Minato got a kiss from Minato as he smiled. "Let's go take a bath." She couldn't have gotten up out of a chair quicker as Seiko saw the cart arrive, as she carried the pieces of wood and placed them down. Meanwhile, in the first personal study, empty Konoha Senju compound. These days it was always best to stay busy, keep the mind and body distracted. It was the unspoken rule in Konoha nowadays. so you would not remember what happened. Snally was breaking that said law, as she was behind her late grandfather, former Dex, briefly sweeping through paperwork as she casually pay attention to Fukaku, Hayashi, Inoichi, Shikaku, Chosa, squawking off her ear. Something about returning to the village council and not ruling with absolute power. She wasn't sure anymore. Konoha has fallen from grace. After the Konoha bloodbath, outsiders mockingly call it, things went from bad to worse. With Danzo's death and discovering Jiraiya's mutilated, beheaded body behind the onsen, the next person best qualified was given the position. Orochimaru first action of business was to bury the dead and salvage anything they could find. He dig deep in the village accounts and found nothing. Not a spare change, not even a scrap. Absolutely nothing. Orochimaru then had to investigate where the hell all the money went to. He then found out that the council members were slowly ciphering money from the village reserves. The Shinobi Council was doing it as well, and the Civilian Council was taking some as well. He ordered the Bank of Fire Country to return all the money. But one of the accountants simply shrugged and said that none of the council members had any money with them. They traced the accounts going back far as to the hidden chill, but it was split into the economy of chill and iron. All the money was gone. Orochimaru, roaring for blood, turned to all of the clans. They must give every single penny to the village, no matter where it came from, whether it be theirs or clan money. The new clan heads refused, saying that their support would not reach Konoha until a new clan head council was restored. Orochimaru had dissolved the Konoha council as one of his first acts, as he knew of them and their dubious rants. But he didn't know that their corruption had caused the village to lose over 890 billion Ryu, and they hand all that money to the vastly rich nations, Iron and Chill, who was already vastly wealthy. Orochimaru was pissed off. He was stressed. Clans, or what remained of them after a slaughter, they focused on rebuilding their clans. The orphans, the clanless, they were left to their own devices. Orochimaru saw that the village was broken, so he stepped back. He took a breath. He returned 30 minutes later. He had made sure that the council would never exist ever again. He dug into his own pocket and paid for the refunding of the village, focusing on paying the medics and the builders to do what they could do. He reached out to Konoha allies, the Sand and Waterfall, asking for their help. Waterfall did what he could, sending money and shinobis. But the Sand was a different story. The Kazekage Raza indeed intend to send medics, builders, and aid to Konoha, but at a cost. After all, he had no wish to help Konoha out of the goodness of his heart. That thought made Snally scoff. Konoha had sapped life and hope from the Sand before. She was there with Orochimaru, as they had saw the look in Raza's eyes, the glee, the happiness behind the man's sturdy expression when he told them they would have to pay for every single thing he was going to give them. It was a contract signed in a formal meeting with the Sand branch of National Bank of Darkness Country and everything. Now Konoha owed the Sand over 50 million Dark Ryu. Not Fire Country Ryu, Dark Ryu. Because as of this moment, one Dark Ryu was equal to 200 Fire Ryu. That was then. But now because of the bloodbath, the fire money has dropped. So right now $1 from Darkness is 400 in Konoha. Fire Ryu wasn't in the top 5 anymore, and Lady Wakano was livid. Raza held nothing back as he rubbed the Sand wealth in Konoha's face. And Wakano did not take it lightly. She even went as far as to threaten Konoha, saying that she would have Konoha dissolve and absorb back into her power if business did not return back to normal within a year. So the stakes went up. But the next thing was the shift. Konoha was no longer number 1. They were 5th, and that was only because of their large land mass, and because they were under Lady Wakano as well, as the arrangements were Kumo, the Sand, Kiri, the Stone, and then, last of the last, Konoha. It became worse as the Leaf lost all respect from other villages, and ninjas started to leave and defect in droves. A lot of them And other people that had missions with Konoha formerly started investigating them as they started to find some two-facedness, cheating somewhere and somehow, business that they had with the counselors that were murdered turned out to be fraudulence, and some insider trading, some scam. He also found ties between Hiruzen and the Fire Yakuza, the Fire and Snow, as past clients start to send missions towards the Sand or Dark Country, as Orochimaru had to sign another deal with Raza so that they could get some mission as well. Now the loan was 70 million Dark Ryu and some change. There was in Hokage's tower, and there was no plan to rebuild it soon. His office was anywhere that he could sit down. The Hokage monument was destroyed and they had better things to worry about. From the force of death was picking off civilians one by one, and they were still rounding them up. The number of Konoha shinobis drastically reduced, like if Minato hadn't killed them off already, and the animals that escaped had teared them apart as well. Most of them decided to run away from the village, choosing the life as a missing ninja instead of living in this hellish place. Civilians were losing faith in Konoha, and they start to flee, trying to buy their way into sand or darkness. But Naruto had placed a ban, especially for Konoha, so none of them could enter his country. It all became too much for Orochimaru, and he did something crazy. A Chunin that stumbled upon the fort, forcing himself on a 10-year-old boy, an orphan in a back alley, and alarms were immediately raised. Orochimaru had to flee the village with his assistant Kabuto, but there was no one to give chase, so the rapist managed to disappear in grass country. Depths of his crimes had yet to be investigated. The man only lasted 2 months as 4th Hokage. The curse was passed on to Tsunade Senju, who became the 5th Hokage of Konoha. The will of fire for Konoha died though, and it didn't look like it was going to be reignited again. Finding out that the Cram clan had fled the village back to their home country, probably that was the final nail in the coffin. Tsunade just didn't have the will to get angry anymore. If this was a contest between them and Darkness, Konoha was bowing out. Darkness has won. Congratulations. They had tried to find someone to blame, but Darkness had nothing to do with this. Neither the Sand. Wakino didn't want anything to do with them. The stone was still licking their wounds after the attack of the Gobi, and Kumo did not care less about them. More than less, Kumo didn't give a damn. And Kiri had the Chunin exams to participate in with Darkness. Chunin exams that were only taking place between Kiri and Darkness. For a while, they blamed Minato Namikaze, but they all saw that Minato was pressured by everything, and he just snapped. The only culprit was themselves. Lady Hokage, are you listening? Said Inoichi, as he was annoyed by the distant look in her eyes. She was the last Senju. Minato had made sure of that in his killing spree. She looked towards the man. No, I wasn't. Hayashi cleared his throat. We want to reinstate the council, he said. I won't do that, she said. After 5 months of asking, you'd think they would have given up, but no. If you're not here to do something productive, leave. As you can see, as she motioned the papers, I'm busy. We have permitted our clan mates to take missions, as they're supposed to, she said. The Konoha Charter said it, clearly. Clan shinobis are not. They're supposed to take missions when necessary. But we didn't consider it necessary, said Fukaku. It is the Hokage that determines when it is necessary, she said. These 4 has been trying to get on our good side months ago, releasing their shinobis from their clan to take missions that has been piled up on our decks. The request was not going through. You're all insubordinated. Then accept that clan heads hold the real power in this goddamn village, said Fukaku. As Tsunade hand twitched, she wished that she could just crush his head. Perhaps she should. But the only thing she did was release a long exhale. Shikaku placed a hand on the man's shoulder, calming him down. What Fukaku meant to say is that it's time for the council to come back, so as to legitimize the Hokage's power. Because, let's face it, he said, the reality is, the only people that you command as Hokage are scared civilians, orphans Genins, and Chunins, and clanless Jonins. Tsunade breathed out through her nose once more. The bomb that Minato had detonated near them had scarred them in some way. Shikaku had slash marks on his face, whose arm was a burned black, splashed with red, and wrapped in bandages, and Inoichi wore a neck brace. It was gonna be removed in another week. He was lucky that all of his bones, even though dislocated, he could still walk. We agree that you will stay Hokage, and we will pull all of our resources and find Minato and capture him and bring him to justice, said Shikaku. Tsunade stared at him. You're a smart man, Shikaku. Tell me this, she said. What is smarter, pouring all of our resources into finding a man that killed hundreds of our own, who could very well still have that skill, and will have it, and who could just Be gone like that before you can even touch him. Or, she said, the Inuzuka clan head, 4 months into her job after Tasume, appointed him to her place. Or, use that damn resources to put out this dumpster fire that we call our village, she said. So tell me, do you want me to give you time to think, she asked. Why are you so against reinstating the council? Lady Snally asked Choza. We've taken note of the past crimes of the council, our appearance, and we will see to it that history will not repeat itself. The very moments the council was dissolved, due to the crimes of your parents, said Snavy, not caring that she offended Fukaku. On behalf of his dead father-in-law, you lot decide not to trust the Hokage and decide to rebuild faith in your clan mates. For all of them to close your eyes towards the suffering in the village that you all swore to protect. Petulant chads, you people whine and gripe. You lot that just work together. The problems would have been in the past by now. 7 months and we're still in tremendous death. Low on manpower, low on stock, and winter is coming. But Lady Snavy, I said it before, and I'm gonna say it again. If you're not here to rebuild our home, leave. I need to think how I can beg the Fire Lady not to dissolve this, she said. As Fukaku was the only one that got up and left the office. Time skip. Black fence of the Dark Forest. Northern region of Dark Country. There was a reason why patrols wasn't that high around this section of the Night Forest. It was that the Night Forest was a deterrent. Standing and looking at the 10-foot row of barbed wire, electricized. Minato looked into the darkness. He felt dread run down his spine. Where he and Kisame stood, there was moonlight. Good, natural moonlight. But on the other side, there was nothing but soul-sucking darkness. It was like staring into the void of eternal damnation and death. Minato saw small snakes. Black snakes wiggle out of the fence before receding back. They did not hear any sounds, but they knew the monstrosity that was in there. Kisame and Minato were in their casket ropes, far away from the DC member's sight. Security was relaxed that evening because it was her leader's birthday. As Naruto didn't go all out for his birthday, but people always greeted him differently. Well, they always do the same thing every day, but still. They now had presents. Kisame told Lisa Payne that the leader's birthday was a day for them to utilize. Minato looked towards the darkness. This was 10 times worse than the forest of death. Kisame broke the silence and a low chuckle. This brings me back. I used to train in here 2 times a week. Needed permission before I could enter, and they gave us this nifty little thing. In case we got lost, a beacon, or attacked. They can't see you. Normal lights do not work in here. And since your abilities are, how do I put this? They're suppressed in here. The book I read said that the dark forest squash all other lights, other than lights reflected from obsidian steel, which is impossible because obsidian do not reflect any light. Still, Minato said nothing. I know my way around the part of this forest, but I'm not gonna hold your hand. Don't stay too far away from me. The creatures on the other side, they're not normal, said Kisame. If you sense one, do not look back. Look down, hand raised, and do not panic. They can smell your fear. If you want to try your hand and fight them, by all means, go ahead. Well, Kisame said. Shall we? Minato pulled a 3-pronged kunai and threw it over the fence. He grabbed Kisame's shoulder, and the both of them were gone. Feet touched down and Minato released Kisame instantly. As he searched around, as he picked up his 3-pronged kunai and sealed it within his wrist, right hand stay on the ground. As he dig his fingers in the earth and then it hit him. To go. Up was down, down was up. Left was not right and right was not left. Side was next. It was confusing. He tried to force his mind to say that he was standing on the ground, as he felt like he was gonna puke and throw up. He felt like he was gonna barf and diarrhea at the same time. His body felt like it wanted to go left, but at the same time right, and at the same time it was in the sky. He spat to his side. Damn it, he said. Mind Kisame, his confused mind told him. It was stifling him, as he could barely breathe. As he dropped down to one knee, his mind started to focus on the Hiroshima tag at his home with his lovely girlfriend. But he couldn't focus on it. His eyes widened. His mind started to panic despite his face looking the same way, emotionless as ever. He held on to the kunai in his hand as he could not feel seals on it. It was like a 500-pound blanket that was soaking ice water had been dropped on him, numbing his entire body and his senses. I told you I wasn't going to hold your damn hand, said Kisame. He grabbed Minato by the back of the head and held him upright. Calm the hell down and focus. How can he train in this place? Minato's mind tried to comprehend how. Keep your eyes closed. If You feel dizzy. You were born in dark country after all, weren't you? As Minato wasn't surprised, Kisame must have known this before he betrayed his country. It's supposed to be easier if you have assassination techniques. Oh wait, no. Untrained adults find it harder in the air than Darkborn. As he pulls Samehata and tapped the ground, like a blind person using a cane as he dragged the blonde with him. I got a trace on what we're looking for. Kisame knew how deadly this place was. As when he first got permission because he was 15 and he had filled out all the requirements, he had called them 10 times to come and rescue him. And he didn't even get 10 steps in. But his mind was just confused and railing. But after a while, he was able to use Samehata and adapt. As Minato was exactly like that right now. This place is of nightmares, kid. Don't go get soft on me, Blondie. You're our way out of this hellhole. Minato did not answer back. That was answer enough for Kisame. Akatsuki having a member of Dark Country as a Mitsendin was greatly beneficial for the Akatsuki. Hour of searching, Kisame bent down and picked up a dry, brittle bone. It was a human thumb bone, licked clean of blood. He was sure if he looked further, they would find the skull and the rest of the bones. They had what they needed. Get us out of here, Blondie. As Kisame had to guide Minato and showed him direction for him to throw the kunai out of the dark forest. 6 kunai and 10 minutes of searching later, and the both of them left quietly, as a pair of orange eyes were watching them the entire time. Vulcan orange eyes watched them the entire way as they left. The small animal, it had a dark green vest with a large dark symbol on the back of it. It had 2 tails as it swayed behind it. It was a fox. He allowed them to leave before he turned as he headed towards the BLAK HQ. Roughly 30 other foxes came out as they were going to report their finding to BLAK Commander Bat, who would relay the message to leader Naruto. The flapjacket descendants of the 90th Fox Eep, as he found someone who could translate for them. Meanwhile, separating from Minato, Kisame made his way as he started to get soaked, walking straight towards the Hidden Rain Tower. As he took that time to remember his master words, the masked man that wanted to recruit you in here, he will meet with you soon. The name of the organization is the Akatsuki. Soaki and I were one of the founder members. The nutjob that is leading them now will call himself Pain. He is a Rain Kage and he called himself a god. The goal of the Akatsuki was to strive to protect the Hidden Rain, but Nagato, or Pain, has changed his goal. To attain world peace through the use of force, said Naruto. Naruto sighed. He was used by someone to think that that was the right path. The plant man, said Soaki as Kisame nodded, as he remembered his leader had incinerated that creature. The creature that tipped off Konoha on Kushina's presence. I fear that someone else has taken the plant man's place in whispering nonsense in Nagato's ear. Likely the masked man, Soaki said, but this is only a guess. Your mission is to infiltrate the Akatsuki, gain their trust, and keep tabs on them and find out who is pushing poison into Nagato's ear. Lord Naruto, why not just destroy them right now? Asked Kisame. Think of it as naive hope that my friend will see the madness of his actions before it is too late. The deceiver dead. That mad idiot might come to his senses. If not, I'll finish him myself, said Naruto. Akatsuki is one of the last things my friend Yaiko left, and Nagato is desecrating his body and his dream. I will take responsibility when time comes. Soaki cleared her throat. Akatsuki is made up of powerful shinobi, and Nagato would surround himself and Konan with the best of the best. S-ranks, if you will. Person that might be deceiving Nagato is S-rank as well. So if you find him and discover your chance, kill him, she said. Or else notify us, and we'll handle it, she said. Soaki might have been friends with Nagato and Konan. She might have grown up alongside with them, but if Naruto ordered it, she would slaughter them both. But she doubted she would go alone. If worse became worse, Naruto would take point. I don't want to kill my friend, Naruto admitted. But when the time comes, I will do what I have to do to stop the end of the world. Hugh had told him what will happen when all the tail beasts were combined. Nagato didn't even know the hell that he was gonna bring. As Naruto held out his hand, black smoke gathered and formed a tiny seed. Give this to Samehata, he said. The presence of the Gobe was a dark country secret. The 4 allies knew, but the rest of the worlders knew that the Gobe had galloped into the ocean and never seen again. Akatsuki knew it though by mere assumption. Kisame was trying to find out the person deceiving Nagato. Grabbed onto the doorknob and turned. He cursed in his mind, coming in a bathing suit. Konan, she was standing directly behind the door. Don't just stand there, said Kisame. I was waiting for your return, Kisame, she said. He eased himself around her as she watched him as he slid around her, trying not to touch her. I was gonna meet you and Lord Pain anyway. Good. She held out her hand. Can I have it? Dropped the thumb bone in her hand. As he wondered, what do you want to use it for anyway? We don't want to use him. We want what he has. She turned her head to the right. Orochimaru. Kisame watched as the infamous Snake Sanin slither himself out of a dark passageway. Orochimaru bowed as he held his hand. Thank you very much, Lady Konan. As he was dressed in his Akatsuki robe. If you were the one that want this guy, then why didn't you come with us, said Kisame? Because, my dear friend, Naruto hates me more than he hates you and Minato. And quite frankly, I can't hold myself back from attacking him and his dear home. We're not friends, Snake, Kisame said. I want us to get along, Kisame. I don't think so, Kisame said, the scoff. Konan cleared her throat and Orochimaru straightened up with a smile. Suppression his eye twitch. You are certain that you can get Kakazu, Jienton? Yes, Lady Konan, Orochimaru said. It will go a long way into finding a cure to this affliction that Naruto gave me. He coughed in his fists. Here, he pointed toward Kisame. Kisame snarled. Enough, you two, said Konan. Heal yourself so we can begin gathering tail pieces. You have 1 month. More than enough time, Lady Konan. He hated referring to her like this. But at the moment he needed help, as they offer him sanctuary. Because Konan knew what he was worth. Yes, they both knew because he was there that day when he had took on Naruto. And Naruto had brought Suaki with him, while Orochimaru watched as Jiraiya had took the other orphans. And Konan knew that Orochimaru was indeed valuable. I will get to it immediately as he made his way off. Kisame. As Kisame turned, were you able to see Naruto? When she spoke that question, she asked it timidly. No, Kisame said. Small frown, so small that you barely saw it, came on her face. That's too bad. Today is his birthday. I'm aware, Kisame said. Has he ever spoken about us? Or me? Well, it's common knowledge that Naruto used to live here, if that's what you're asking. And he hasn't. We used to be best friends, she said. Me, him, Suaki, Nagato, and Yaiko. Kisame frowned. Why are you telling me this, Konan? You were close to him. You were close to him, were you not? He went to prison for you. I had hoped that we could He cut her off. He went to prison because it was on his bucket list. Kisame said angrily. When we left Snow, he wanted to steal away my chakra, take Samehata away from me, and throw me into a hole. He called me a psychopath. The woman stopped him, as she lowered her head in a small bow. I apologize for disturbing you, Kisame, she said, as she turned and went upstairs to speak with Nagato. She waited months of building up her courage, so she could ask Kisame about this, but it was for naught. So she stopped as a hand placed on her shoulder. We can talk, Konan, Kisame said, as he wondered why he was even bothering. Some other time. A small smile came on her face as her back was turned to him. I would like that very much. Thank you, Kisame. Konan didn't knock and she just pushed the door open, and it shut behind her. Two occupants of the room looked towards her and returned their gaze outside to the rain. They were successful, Nagato, Konan said, as she looked to one side of the room. As expected, said Nagato, his head perched in his hands, his purple-ring eyes looking through the large window at the people and the rain just falling. Kisame is reliable. It must be because he's from darkness, he thought to himself. After all, the mission successful rate for darkness was 99%. From Genin to Jonin, they were always successful. He then frowned. I do not trust the other one, Minato Namikaze. Madara Uchiha, or Obito Uchiha, did not spoke. He just remained silent. After all, that man was his former teacher. Well, former, because this new Minato Namikaze, he didn't know who he was. So as not to break apart his illusion of Madara Uchiha, he did not speak because he himself did not know what this new Minato Namikaze was doing, or if he could be trusted. He is not as efficient as when he was mentally unstable, Nagato said out loud. His lifestyle are divided in women. His lifestyle and the Akatsuki. To be here, one must devote your life to the Akatsuki. I doubt his commitment to our cause. Minato is going to be a father, Nagato, said Konan, interjecting before Nagato say something that would be bad, as she knew where he was going. He's loyal to who respects him and his family. Is him replacing Zetsu not good enough for you? His head snapped towards her. Do not speak to me like that, Konan. He has performed outstandingly, she said, not backing down. We can now set our plan in motion with his support faster than even Zetsu. This woman knows about our existence, The crippled Kage spat. What is stopping her from selling this information? She's 7 months pregnant. She and him are going to have a child, said Conan. Do not raise your voice at me, Conan, he warned, as Madara hid his smirk. If he's so loyal to her cause, then why does he refuse to accept her ring and sign a blood contract? He's a seal master, a level 10 seal master, she said. Killing means death, when you know has so much to live for. The blood contract too. Enough. Listen to reason. She was blown away as Nagato had enough. She violently slammed into the wall hard as she crumbled onto the ground. As she whimpered at what her childhood friend had did to her. Nagato. The man ignored her and turned towards Madara. Tipped the Uchiha off on Minato location. This should be enough to make him unstable. Conan was already leaving the room. When it is done, have Saucer and Deidara convince him to take the ring and the blood contract. Roger, said Madara. It was a line one should not cross. Everyone had a line. The Akatsuki had a line. Yaiko created that line. Do not drag in mothers or children, especially expecting mothers. Akatsuki went out of their way to get away from mothers, especially when they encountered them in Konoha or Kumo. That was the line. Conan was a prisoner, not Nagato's will, but it didn't seem like she still had an opinion in the Akatsuki. He was no using force against her. For her, speaking her mind, the moment that Naruto left, taking Tsuaki with him, it was like the Akatsuki fell apart. It was now a different organization. Conan felt so horrible because she knew that she made the biggest mistake of her life, not going with Naruto and Tsuaki. Conan made her way towards the top of the roof. As the rain washed over her, she closed her eyes as blood was seeping on the back of her neck as she had gotten nicked when she hit the wall. Happy birthday, Naruto, she said. She placed her palms together and prayed. I hope you're doing well. At the same time, the leader's tower, as Naruto hands went up to his masked mouth as he sneezed. His two assistants looked towards him. Bless you, they said. He took the napkin from the female of the pair, dabbed at the top at his mask, where his nose was. Thank you, he said. Male assistant looked towards him. Are you feeling unwell, Lord Naruto? No, don't worry about me, he said. Let's get back to work. Yes, Lord Naruto, they says. They went back to their jobs. The two assistants handled minor issues, while Naruto take care of the more heavy work, as blizzard was coming. And the forecast said that this will be the worst blizzard that darkness has ever gotten. Naruto had a lot to do and know that his tower was open. He didn't have to move around the village to meet people. They all brought their reports to him. It's convenient, though it still work. Oh yes, before I forget, picked up the landline and pressed 3 digits as it rang. Good evening, my Lord Naruto. This is Equinox Communication Service. How may I be of a service to you? Good evening. Can you connect me to my house right away? As the phone rang twice. Hi, Sensei, said Tsuaki. Hi, Su, said Naruto. How are you? How's Kushina, he said. We're fine. Hope office work is not too much, Sensei. Nah, I managed it okay. It's gonna be a late night, Su. You two don't mind, right? Do your best, Sensei, she said. I love you. I love you too. There was a yell in the background. Tell him I love him too. Tsuaki laughed. Kushina said that she loves you too. Tell her I love her as well, said Naruto. He loves you too, said Tsuaki. As Kushina squealed, I'll see you tonight. As he placed the receiver back down, cutting the call. Office assistants were focusing hard in the papers, pretending like they just didn't listen in on his conversation. As Naruto's eyes looked towards a photo on his decks. One was him and Kushina on a date in the sand, traveling carnival. That time she was 1 month pregnant. Now, she was 7 months pregnant. Looking at Kushina now only brought a soft smile to his face. She was glowing, she was radiant, though hampered by her large belly and the ache in her joints. She always smiled and laughed, as Tsuaki could attest to it that holding Naruto's child would make Kushina the happiest woman in the world. At the moment, Tsuaki was on temporary leave of absence from BLEK, so she could take care of Kushina. She made sure that Kushina was well fed and that she moved her own as well, and also well rested. Tsuaki loved Kushina with all her heart, and she was positive whether she had child or not in the end. She would love Kushina's child with everything she got. Naruto on the other part had read every single parenting book. His spare time he got, he tucked his head into parenting manuals. He spent as much time as he could with the 2 women in his life. As his eyes got steely, he needed to make a better, safer darkness for his soon-to-be-born child, and he had to work harder. As Naruto went over some documents from Uzo. Sir, the female assistant said, Lord Mizukage has just entered the country. and he wished to know if he could speak with you tomorrow, discussing some serious matters. As Naruto's forehead creased, Yagura was a good friend of his, and he didn't need to come and sit for an appointment, especially when he had a problem. It wasn't the first time that Naruto has been meeting with him. I'm fine with that. My office is always open to him. Tell him to rest well. Yagura was still living in the house that he bought 15 years ago, maintaining it even when he wasn't in the country. As Mizukage, he didn't have much time to go back and front. But when he came by, his house was already ready for him. He was already installed landline, stable electricity, and clean water. From what Naruto had learned, Yagura was paying one of his neighbor's kids to mow his lawn every week. Female relayed the message and bid the Mizukage a good night. As Naruto wondered if the problem was the Chunin exams. It could be about the unrest, because Kisame had defected amongst the 7 swordsmen they had missed. Zabuza Momokai, the person that Kushina had battled in Chunin exams, the holder of the head cleaver blade, and also the newest member of the ranks, was making bold threats, and the holder of New Berry, the needle sword, was uninvolved in the arguments. The holder of the twin lightning fang blades were trying to smooth things over as well. The problem was also stemming from the San ranking higher than Kira in the great village listings. The San being second and Kira being third. Yagura didn't care much about the ranking, but the swordsmen, they were outraged that they weren't ranked the highest. Naruto was jolted out of his thoughts when his phone rang, as he picked up the receiver and placed it at his ear. Lord Naruto, you're receiving a call from Lady Sawaki. Put her through, said Naruto. As he heard, Supsu, he said. Hey sensei, she said. She used her shoulder to hold the phone up, as she pulled on a pair of warm gloves. I just want to call and tell you that I'm taking Kushina to hospital to see Dr. Nakamura. She said that she's feeling a bit sick and winded. I might just be panicking, but we can't be too careful. Okay, I'm on my... No, don't worry, sensei. It's not that serious. She sensed that Naruto wasn't convinced. So, Kushina took the phone. Don't worry about me, Naruto. Work hard for us, okay? Her voice sounded rather quiet. Okay, let me know if you need anything. He felt like he did not deserve to have these understanding women, and he felt a bit of regret. Give the phone to Sawaki, please. As she was past the phone. You wanted me? Are you sure this isn't serious? Positive. Naruto released a sigh. Alright. Kiss Kushina for me, he said. Idiot, she said on the phone, as she blushed a bit. Before cutting the call, he hummed pleasantly, glad that he was able to lighten the mood, at least a little. The male assistant said, Lady Kamina, from the Hidden Chill, wish you a happy birthday. She also sent a gift basket and a coupon for a free massage at the Sand Beach Resort. It has been checked for trap or poison. Could use a treat, said Naruto. Send in the gift basket and tell her thank you. The door opened as one of the Chunins came in with the gift basket. Kamina was currently at the beach resort, as she was easing the tension out of her core. There was already a lot of gifts near the male assistant that were to be given to Naruto. Even the kids from the schools had written him little notes. It was adorable, as he would cherish each and every one of them. As Naruto sat there thinking about things, Nagato was the only player right now who was doing something stupid. The plant man was dead. Danzo was dead. The third was dead. Konoha was a burning pile of crap. The hidden stone was subdued. Kumo was smart enough to not involve itself with darkness, even after the Raikage had changed from C to A. Minato respected Naruto enough to give him and his country space, and Naruto respected kind as well, and not do anything towards a man. No, Kisame, it will take some time for him to gain trust with the organization, for them to fully trust him. And it will take a while for them to think that you're superior to darkness, just because you have a couple of S-rank ninjas. Given the fact that Kisame broke in through the country through the dark forest, he could tell that he was doing fine despite there being no contact so far. As Naruto thought about Minato, as he knew that he was there as well, he rubbed a hand over his lower face. Are you okay, my lord? The female assistant asked. Oh, it's just... I've always wanted to grow a beard, he said. The both of them chuckled at the sincerity of their leader's words. His uncle had a full set of beard, and his father always shaved his. So if Naruto had had a lower jaw, perhaps he would have a full beard as well. Going past his sorrow, he found out that Minato was living a peaceful life in Hidden Mountain with his pregnant girlfriend. He was also expecting the same time as Kushina. He worked as a lumberjack, doing Akatsuki missions on the side. All the missions were stayed away from Naruto business. This was the first mission that was involved with darkness. Naruto was glad that Minato found his peace and Namikaze was very unstable. Tasumi was the only one keeping him together. As long as everything stayed that way, it would be okay. The Kurama clan had been getting in tune with the village once again, as things were returning back normal for them. Phone rang as Naruto picked it up. Hello, my lord Naruto. You are receiving a call from Dr. Kimura at General Hospital. Put him through, said Naruto. Naruto felt his heart jumped a bit. There was a faint buzz before Yuma was put through. Good evening, Naruto. I hope I'm not disturbed in work. It's fine. What's the problem? Sir, would you please come to the hospital now? As Naruto heart thumping his chest. Of course, I'll be there. As Naruto dusted down his Jonin jacket, he didn't bother to put on his robes. Hold down the fort for me, guys, he said, looking towards assistants. Yes, Lord Naruto, they said, as Naruto opened the window. He jumped, poof, burst into black smoke, quickly making his way to the hospital, as he was worried. But guys, it'll be in episode right here. If you want the next person to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications they posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in social media platform. But I'm off for now. See you guys soon. Peace.